What's up, y'all? What's up? This Hammer here again, coming at you guys with another live stream. I'm sorry for the delay. I was supposed to go live earlier, but things came up. I had to do. So that's why I kind of so late. I wasn't even supposed to go live with you guys. I wasn't even supposed to go live. I really only went create this live stream because I came across this post from Undead Chronic I think a couple of days ago, and I knew that I was gonna cover it. I knew that when the time came, I was gonna have to come out here and address what he said. And the reason why I feel so passionate about this is because a lot of you guys may not know this, but I was actually on Undead Chronic's page to stream once. So earlier this year, I think around maybe during the summer, but earlier this year, I had a back and forth on the Chronic because I essentially made a video talking about how a lot of the problems that white men complain about in America, they helped to create. And that a lot of the laws they complain about, they helped to create. But most importantly, they created these things for racial reasons. That was sort of the purpose of the video, right? And the video I made towards the white man said, look, the reason why black men split from y'all is because many of you guys in the white manosphere, right? And this includes Undead Chronic too. Many of you guys in the white manosphere refuse to acknowledge the fact that it was the men, your grandfather, your father, the men that came before you that put you in the position you're in right now, that fucked you over. And a lot of times they did it to get at black men, at black people, at black families, for racial reasons. But see, now that these policies and laws have bounced back on the white community, now all of a sudden y'all want to have this manosphere shit. But the crazy part is, even within the manosphere, you still can't let go of race. Look, and you know what's so funny? He invited me to his panel. I think it was a couple of months ago. I went on his panel. I went on the stream, right? And one thing I kept telling Undead Chronic that, look, a lot of the guys in the white manosphere, right? The reason why we left, because a lot of the guys in the white manosphere, they had a problem with the fact that black men were fucking white women. And they made that shit very well known. Very well known. Now, even though these white dudes are also pushing, pushing for white men to date out and for white men to quote unquote go to Asian females, they made it very clear that anytime they saw a picture, anytime they saw something that even resembled a white woman dealing with a black dude, they'll get triggered. And they will go into this racist rage. Meaning that even though, there was this narrative that they were pushing out there, that was being pushed out there from the white manosphere, that we're all men first, what black men came to realize is that that's not true. That you guys can let go of the racial peace. And y'all, this kind of sets up what I'm going to cover in today's live stream. Because Undead Chronic recently essentially made a post in regards to JustPearlyThings. And I feel like for you to really understand what he said in this post, you have to understand the white manosphere at large. You have to understand how white men view interracial dating from their perspective in regards to black men. And you have to understand why we broke away from the white males to begin with. Because when I was on Undead Chronic's page, I kept talking about how many of the quote unquote followers, right, who followed Undead Chronic, they will constantly talk about their fear of their mother, their sister, or their daughter being blacked. I'm just gonna say, they will constantly talk about, even though they will push white men to go and quote unquote date Asian women. So in other words, they had no problem pushing interracial relationships when it came to white men and Asian females. But then they will have all this, smoke and all this fear of potentially their mother and sister and daughter being black, being fucked by black dudes. And when I told this to Undead on his panel, he was gaslighting me. He said, that's not true. We don't care. We don't care. Okay. So let me go ahead and y'all can see the post, right? So 5 days ago, okay, Undead Chronic, right? And by the way, for those who know, Undead Chronic essentially he's a content creator for the white men's right. So 5 days ago, right, Undead Chronic makes a post, and you guys may not be able to see it, right? But you guys may not be able to see it because it may appear small on your screen. So I'll just read what it says for you, right? If you guys can see it, but I'm just going to read it. So what it says here is, JustPearlyThings. A white woman who only dates black men is shocked that white men refuse to date white women who bang black guys. Let me say it again. JustPearlyThings. A white woman who only dates black men is shocked that white men refuse to date white women who bang black guys. LOL. Pay the toll trash. Listen to that, okay? So, for those who may not know who JustPearlyThings is, right? JustPearlyThings is essentially a female YouTuber, okay? A female YouTuber, a white female, right? And she kind of gained her prominence and her popularity by essentially talking about, essentially the black manosphere. Because even though she was connected to Rural Tomasi and other folks in the white manosphere, like she really blew up by covering Kevin Samuels' videos, right? And she even went on Kevin Samuels' page for a while. And she's made it very well known that she deals with black dudes. But here's the thing. We have to understand why that's the case. It's not because JustPearlyThings, quote unquote, hates white guys. It's because JustPearlyThings is a 6-foot white girl who's a little bit, chubby. And although her father is a millionaire and she comes from a multi-million-dollar family, white family, upper-class white family, the problem is that most of the white men who are in that class, for the most part, they typically are going to pursue white women who are petite. Or who are short and petite. She, being 6 foot, being old, being chubby, she already knows from a very young age that she does not fit the look that a lot of boys are looking for. That's reality. So that's the reason why she ends up dealing with black men. But see, the reason why I wanted to cover this because Undead Chronic, when I was calling out the white manosphere, when I was on your panel talking about how the reason why we left y'all because it wasn't black men that could let the race thing go, okay? It wasn't us. It was the fact that you couldn't let it go. Y'all had a problem with it. You guys kept bringing it up. And you wanted to gaslight me. And now here you are, literally doing exactly what I said you were about. But see, here's the problem I have with this conversation. Because if you look at Undead Chronic's page, channel, right? And you look at the channel of many other white content creators like Martin Goldberg and even Rural Tomasi, they talk a lot about feminist laws, the plight of white men, how they're being genetically raised, how the population is going down, how the West is going down. All of this, is really what I call, the white male plight sphere. That's how I will characterize that space. White male plight, right? And when I was making that video in regards to the white male sphere, when I was having a conversation with Undead Chronic, I said, one of the reasons why we in the black manosphere, and especially me, don't have sympathy for y'all is because none of you guys want to address the quote-unquote racial undertones. None of you guys want to address the elephant in the room. which is that these laws were not passed by women. These laws were not passed by black men. It was white men who sold you out. Uh-oh. It was your grandfather who sold you out. Other white men who sold you out. But see, the problem is that because you guys know that these white men have real power, and you're gonna have, and they have no problem putting you down too, and you know that for you guys to essentially go after these folks, it would essentially undermine all these quote-unquote arguments you'll have in regards to black men, the black community. Not gonna do that. Look, when it comes to industrialization, when it comes to the economy, right? The United States, after really World War II, after the Cold War, right, was the industrial power of the world. Okay? They were the largest economy in the world. I'm like, I'm like America, right? Like the upper Midwest, like Pennsylvania, Detroit. These were major manufacturing hubs. I'm like, during those days, it was very common and easy for a white guy to go, get a manufacturing job at some factory, and be able to have a middle, literally, right, buy a home and have a traditional setup. But what happened? During this time also, there was also a lot of industrial, opportunities in urban areas of black Americans. And so what ended up happening is that as America was kind of, trying to get China to go away from the United States, America essentially allowed its corporations to export their manufacturing to China, right? One, to gain more influence. Two, because cheaper labor. But three, as a way to undermine black Americans in urban areas. And the white demographic, the white population, your grandfather looked the other way because they're like, let those Negroes get it, let all them jobs in those urban areas, let's export them to Asia, export them to China. Yeah, you Negroes. They were cool with that. But see, when you start to see jobs in their neighborhoods, we're starting to see jobs in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. When those industrial jobs started to quote unquote go over to Asia and China, now it became a problem. We go to the crack era, right? They had no problem seeing, crack, the pharmaceutical industry, the state being weaponized against black communities. But when you start to see the state and these same pharmaceutical companies now weaponizing opioids against white folks, now's the problem, right? I'm like, do you see the pattern here? Do you see the pattern here? Or when it came to quote unquote the Civil Rights Act, right? Which was specifically meant for black men. But because white dudes, they felt a certain kind of way, they essentially allowed their women to put sex in the Civil Rights Act as a way to get at black men, just for the white women to turn around and literally run the yard with this feminism shit. Which would have never happened if they would have just made the civil rights about race only, about black men only. You see the pattern. It keeps repeating itself. All of the fucking problems that you white dudes are facing is your fault. Y'all. All of the problems that these white dudes are facing, that the white manosphere is facing. I'm like, there was a story I saw yesterday. You had a white dude, a white dude in his 20s. He stabbed his own mother and killed her. And then he stabbed his sister. And the reason is because he told the authorities, well, my mother did not raise me to be a man. I'm like, this was happening in the white community. Because what's happening is a lot of these white boys, let's keep it real, they're being raised up, being told that they're the best in the world. You go out there, Tiger. They go out there in the real world. They realize that that quote-unquote market-based capitalism is kicking their ass, in which all the corporations are trying to quote-unquote increase the amount of work that you have to put in, but keep the wages stagnant, if not suppress them, because really, they don't want to give you a living wage. So these white dudes, most of them, right, are in a situation in which they can't really obtain a real good income job. They can't obtain living wage, which means what? It makes it that much more difficult for them to have a family, because these white girls, these women, are making it very clear they want the economics. Then on top of that, their female counterpart, white females, on this whole woman, I'm a female, hear me roar, right? Female empowerment shit, which their grandfathers, the men before them, helped to enable to get out black men, but now it's backfiring. And now they're seeing their women also literally having record number of abortions. Yo, look, I don't care what these white conservatives tell you. The reason why they are so obsessed about abortion is not because they care about life. It's because too many white women are aborting white kids. That's what it comes down to. Too many white women are aborting white kids, and the numbers are dropping. And by the way, great thing I brought that up. Abortion. That's another thing that quote unquote backfire on the white community. I will say a large percentage of Planned Parenthood clinics are in urban areas. When it came to abortion, that was another ploy from the white society, from quote unquote white men, to get at the black community. Where the thing was, if you export all the jobs from urban areas, right? Most of the jobs towards Asia, right? You economically suppress urban areas, and then you put abortion clinics in those same areas. You incentivize abortion, and you try to quote unquote cut down the black population. That's the reality. And I truly believe that a lot of that stuff was done because they thought it was only going to affect black folks. But see, what they did not expect was the record number of their own women that would take advantage and quote unquote abort white kids, to a point at which it's even higher in the white community. And it's like, once again, I keep seeing this pattern from you. Look, I don't have any sympathy for you. I don't. Because when I look at you guys, what I see is a group of men who have tried to find countless ways to try to undermine black folks, specifically black men. And every time you put things in place, it always backfires. And then when it backfires, you want to complain. Undead Chronic, the reason why black men, and by the way, this is what separates black men and black women, right? When white women approached black women in regards to the whole feminist thing, right? A lot of black women did not think long term. They did not ask themselves, are these white chicks really allies? They just went along with it. And in the end, what happened was what? They convinced black women to back the quote-unquote feminist thing, right? To put sex-based rights, and to put sex in the Civil Rights Act, which was retarded, because the reason why white women wanted to put sex in the Civil Rights Act is because white women understood what? If the Civil Rights Act was just about race, then black women would have the advantage. If the Civil Rights Act literally operated on flat blackness, if the Civil Rights Act was just about race, nothing else, black women will by default have an advantage over white women, because when they go to the job, when they go to these policies, they can use the black card. But white women wouldn't be able to do that. So it would literally ice them out. That's the reason why they had to convince black women to join the sex thing. By putting sex in there, it allows white women to use their femalehood to gain access to affirmative action. And guess what happened? They took all of it. Damn near all of it. A majority of the civil rights, a majority of the affirmative action went to white women. And so now black women are out here decades later looking stupid. Like, oh my God. All of the affirmative action, all the civil rights, that's supposed to go to black folks, went to white chicks. Yeah, because a lot of you black feminists trusted these white hoes and allowed them to put sex-based rights in there, and it took everything they ran. And now you've got nothing to show for it. And the crazy part is, now that you want them to come and help you, these white chicks are nowhere to be found. So that's what the quote-unquote black females did. And they're still serving from that. I'm like, in fact, in my opinion, really, the rise of the quote-unquote intersectional feminism shit, the rise of intersectional feminism is really because a lot of minority women have realized that they've been duped by white women. That white women essentially stole the goodies and ran. And so now they're trying to redefine feminism away from a quote-unquote white female. But it's too late. They've taken the goodies, and right now they're literally about to overthrow, get rid of affirmative action that was supposed to be the black folks, because you trusted white Becky and you helped them put sex in there. She took on the affirmative action, and now she's back with Brad. It literally got to a point in which a majority of white women now vote GOP. Come on, y'all. A majority of white women now vote GOP. And it's just... And it was so funny. It's funny seeing all of these black... It's funny, right? Seeing all of these black women that will hop online and they will complain about how white women are not allies. How white women... I said, yeah, because they tricked y'all. That's what happened. When Stacey Abrams ran in Georgia, a majority of white women voted for Brian Kemp. Think about this. The same white women that convinced you to join the quote-unquote feminist movement, holding hands with Becky, saying, we're all in this together, Keisha. Those same white women literally voted for Brian Kemp and kept Stacey Abrams out of office. When Stacey Abrams ran that quote-unquote female-first campaign, where were the white females? Where were the white female voters? They were nowhere to be found. They let you black females know real quick, we are white first. All that female shit was just because we wanted to have equals a higher status within the white power structure. And they ran. And the crazy part is, now that they have used sex-based rights to take most of the affirmative action, most of the civil rights, now they're going to essentially collude with white conservatives, collude with white men to take away affirmative action through the Supreme Court. And ladies, do you think white women are going to have your back? They're going to care if you're a female? They're going to call you a nigger real quick. And this is the reason why I said that black men are kind of sort of different black women, because black women fell for the okie doke. When white women came to them and offered them this quote unquote intersectional feminism, we're all together, they fell for it. And to be honest, I kind of get why, because in their minds, we want to have the same privileges as Miss Ann. But in the end, Miss Ann took the privileges and ran back to her community. And she left you there out in the cold. You don't have quote unquote white women's privileges, and all of the quote unquote goodies that all of the quote unquote benefits and goodies that you would have got through the civil rights, white women stole it. So you literally have nothing left. And now those same women are now turning around and getting your black men. It's just crazy. And so that's what black women did. But when it came to black men did not fall for the shit. Okay? When we first started the quote unquote men's movement shit, right? White men tried to run the same game. Okay? The same game that white women tried to run on black women, white men try to run the same game on black men, right? Well, we're all the same, brothers. Race doesn't matter. We're all men. But see, the difference is this. We didn't fall for it. Ladies, We did not fall for it. Black women fell for it when quote unquote white feminists tried to quote unquote preach them this quote unquote female first shit, right? When white men tried to quote unquote come and say, oh, we're all men, race doesn't matter, we didn't fall for it because we knew that when push came to shove, white men were going to side with themselves. We knew this. We always knew this. It's like, we don't trust you white guys. We don't believe in this whole male shit because we know when the time comes, you guys are gonna turn around, stab us in the back, and go back with the white community. We know this. And that's the reason why black men, from a very get-go, have made it very clear everything we do from the quote-unquote manosphere perspective is for black male first and black people first. All this intersecting with white men, that's not happening. And if we do intersect with you, we're going to intersect with you telling you that it's going to be black male first. So the same way that black women were bamboozled by white chicks into believing this whole, female first nonsense, we didn't fall for that shit. We knew, no, it's black male first, meaning that it's race first, okay? The only thing we have in common with you white dudes is genitalia. But we're not the same. We don't experience life the same in any way possible. That's it. We're not. And that's the reason why early on black men separated from the white men because we realized, look, we're not going to run this game because what you guys really want, you want the manosphere to be a space where white men lead and black men just fall behind. That's what it is. That's what y'all really want. You want black men to play a subordinate role to white men, right? So that you guys can quote unquote rally this quote unquote men's rights movement from a white male perspective. And then when you get the goodies, you're gonna take the goodies and run back to the white community and we'll have nothing. No, we will not fall for that shit, bro. And so we let them know real quick early on, no, it's going to be black male first over here. Yeah, we may fight for some male issues, but black men are going to be a priority. Your women, white women may have been able to run this game on black women. You're not going to run this game on us. Okay, well, we're not falling for that game. And to be honest with you, the only reason why black women fell for it is because black women, deep down, they had this look. I kind of understand psychologically why black women fell for it. Because, for most of America's history, black women were essentially maids and servants. So they've always had to play a subordinate role to quote unquote Miss Anne. And so for many of them, the idea of white women offering them, hey, you can have the same privilege as white women was very appealing. So they trusted them just for them to be betrayed. Right? But for black men, we don't trust you white dudes. That's the, right? That's the fucking difference. The black feminists actually trusted white feminism. We don't trust you white dudes. We don't. We really don't. We don't trust you guys at all. We know that when push comes to shove, y'all will stab us in the back and go back to the white community. We know this. But I think the reason is because men have to navigate the world differently from women. Men have to navigate the world differently from women. Everything men do in society has consequences. Black men tend to be the biggest recipients of racism in this country. They face the most violence, the most attacks. And so black men are forced to live in reality every single day compared to black females, because they're women, although they face racism, it's not to the same extent. So it's easier for them to trust the system and trust the quote-unquote white female sisters just to be betrayed. For black men, because we tend to be the disproportionate recipients of the attacks, we know not to trust y'all. Come on, man. And so when I see Undead Chronic post stuff like this, and you think I'm not going to call out? Because, dude, you literally just undermined yourself. That's what you just did. You literally just undermined yourself. When I made that video back in the beginning of the year, talking about how white men complain about issues they created, that all the laws you complain about, you guys passed to get out black men. But now that it's backfired on your community, then you want to cry. Number two, I talked about how a lot of white men in the quote-unquote manosphere, although you guys push interracial marriage between white men and Asian women, you guys still feel a certain kind of way about white women dealing with black men. And it literally gets to a point at which y'all will literally you will say some of the most racist shit. And when I told you this directly on your panel, you wanted to gaslight me. And now here you are, a couple of months later, making this post, calling out JustPearlyThings because, quote unquote, she deals with the black males. she deals with the black males. You know, JustPearlyThings deals with black men, and so white men are not going to deal with her. And yet you wonder why black men separated from y'all. Yet you wonder why we're not part of the white manosphere. Come on. And the funny part is, when I was on that stream and I told him this, he was gaslighting me like a motherfucker. He was gaslighting me. It's not true, Hammer. We don't care about race. It's not true, Hammer. And here you are. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. And here you are. No, we're going to close it out. But see, what gets me so angry is that they will do stuff like this, and then they will ask themselves, why don't black folks vote for us, right? They will do stuff like this, and then wonder why they don't get black male support for the most part. I'm like, you're gonna have your coons here and there, but there's a reason why a majority of black male, the black males here, don't support y'all. Y'all will do stuff like this and then turn around and ask yourself, man, I wonder why things are the way they are. I mean, it's ridiculous to me. Right now, he's having a whole live stream, Undead, talking about the plight of the white men not having a job. Once again, Undead, all the shit that you guys complain about, you helped to facilitate and create to get out black men. The deindustrialization, the exporting of jobs to Asia. All of that was meant to benefit corporations, but to target black communities. But now that it's now affecting white dudes and white people, now it's a problem. Abortion, that was really meant to really to target the black community. Now that white women are quote unquote overusing that shit, now it's a problem. And Undead, when I told you your face that I genuinely don't care what happens to you white dudes, I really meant it too. Because I know how fucking disingenuous you are. Right? Especially in these manosphere streets. But anyway, I think that's my kind of rant out here. But it's crazy because, and look, let me just say something real quick, right? When it comes to JustPearlyThings needs to understand something, okay? I understand that you more than likely grew up in a white family that doesn't care, but let's be honest here, JustPearly, okay? The vast majority of white men, no matter what they tell you, they feel a certain kind of way if they see you with a black dude. They do. Even if they don't find you attractive, even if they would never stick their dick in you, you being with a black guy makes them feel a certain kind of way. And yes, JustPearlyThings, because you have been seen because you're known now for dating black men, it's almost going to be impossible for you to go back. That's true. If you try to date white men again, as soon as they find out that you're with a black dude, they'll ask you out. So in that point of view, Undead is right. The problem is, Undead wants to make it seem as if that's not the majority of white men, which it is. He wants to make it seem as if that's not the majority of white men in the manosphere. And that's also the reason why we broke away from y'all. Come on, y'all. let me just look in the chat here. Abdullah, how you doing, How you doing, brother? We got the truth hurts 100 facts. Thank you all. Shout out to you guys. Yeah. And so I hate this gaslighting. But look, in my opinion, man, look, I might open up the panel. I see some folks are coming in here. I know it's a little bit late. Let me see here. Let me see. That's kind of my quick monologue. So I'm gonna open up the panel here really quickly for those who want to hop in and say their piece, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so I'm putting the link in the chat here. So for those, you can see a link here. For the viewers, if you got something you want to say, ready for the world. Is this a man or a woman? It's a man. It's a white dude. Undead Chronic is a white male content creator. He's a white male content creator, right? And he essentially is a major content creator within the white manosphere. And he, in my opinion, he represents the reason why black men left the white manosphere, why they broke away from white dudes, right? He will spend all his time talking about how white men need to go to Asia and get Asian females, right? They'll push interracial dating when it comes to white men and Asian women, right? All the time. But then they will shame white women for even dealing with a black dude. And what triggered me is that he literally had this post, and you can see right here, where he essentially is saying that because JustPearlyThings is known for dealing with black guys, that no white dude will deal with her. But see, once again, when black dudes call this shit out, it's stop being a victim. Stop being... It's crazy. When we call out the racist comments, when we call out the quote unquote racialization, then they want to get mad. And it was so funny. This actually reminds me of the Meghan Markle situation. Because so Meghan Markle and Prince Harry recently released a documentary on Netflix. And on this documentary, right, Meghan Markle talked about how, look, before she married into the British royal family, she was not treated like a black person. And I agree with her. And that it wasn't because here, although she's a biracial, she is white passing enough where white folks did not give her the Negro treatment, right? And it wasn't until she tried to really enter into a white institution like the British royal family that they called her a nigger real quick. I'm like, you literally had articles talking about how she's straight out of Compton. I'm like, these are the kinds of articles that have been written about her. And when she will call this shit out, they'll say she's being a victim. So I understand what she's talking about. White folks will say, white people, right? White men will racialize you, and then when you call them out for racializing you, then it's stop being a victim. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. But yeah, but in my opinion, man, this highlights to me the BS and just the stupidity that we have to deal with on a regular fucking basis. Regular fucking basis. And this should be called out. But anyway, y'all, I think I'm gonna end the live here. So no one wants to come on. We'll be on 40 minutes. Yeah. So I just wanted to highlight that. Make sure you got and subscribe, share the video, share the stream. I think for me, I don't know my next live. I don't know what my next live is gonna be, but I'm gonna be fired. I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for let me see. Says Undead Chronic always talks about how he hates white women and telling the guys who. So yeah, but here's the issue I'm ready for, right? He hates white women because for two reasons. Number one, white women, there's this perception in the white manosphere, right? I don't know where to get this shit from, that white women are just out here being blacked. I'm just gonna say, there is this perception in the white manosphere. White dudes really believe that majority of these white chicks are out here being blacked. They're out here being digged down by black dudes. So a lot of the resentment is that because Undead Chronic and white guys can no longer go around lynching black men like 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 they want to, there's this feeling that white women, when they go to college, when they leave the house, they at least have black dick once. They're at least getting blacked once, and then when they return to the white community, they try to play as if there was no black dick in their mouth. And then number two, there's also this anger that white men no longer have the prestige and the power they used to. Look, bruh, the Western world is dying off internationally. So, that's really where it comes from. But I'm going to let y'all go. Make sure you guys share and subscribe. Hammer out.